The Worldbreaker was the Dominion's ultimate weapon, a dreadnought the size of a small moon, deep within its core, a planet-killing device charged with enough power to turn entire star systems into dust. Emperor Gon himself had authorized its deployment, declaring that if Earth could not be conquered, it would be annihilated. Captain June watched the massive enemy ship through Thunderbolt's sensors. The vessel was so large it seemed to bend space around it. Smaller ships surrounded it like insects protecting a giant, but June only had eyes for the main target. 11 minutes until the Worldbreaker fires, Navigator Juan reported. At this distance, Earth has no chance of survival. Then we stop it, June said simply. Rin full power to all systems. Hana, prepare every weapon we have. We're going in. Captain Rin worked frantically at her station as Thunderbolt's hybrid systems came online. The ship had evolved far beyond its original design, incorporating alien technology that made it stronger than ever before. Sir, the adaptive systems are showing readings I've never seen, Rin reported. The ship has grown 30% larger during the battle. We now have weapons and defenses from a dozen different alien races. Dr. Yu's voice came over the communication system from the hidden base. Captain June, we've analyzed the Worldbreaker's design. The weapon has one weakness. The power core is protected by quantum shields, but there's a ventilation shaft that leads directly to the main reactor. How small is this shaft? June asked. Too small for any normal ship, but Thunderbolt's adaptive hull might be able to compress enough to fit through. Admiral Moon's voice joined the conversation from Earth Command. Captain, even if you destroy the Worldbreaker, there are still 300 enemy ships remaining. How can one vessel defeat an entire armada? June smiled grimly. By showing them something they've never seen before. Thunderbolt accelerated toward the enemy formation. The ship's hull shifted and flowed as it prepared for the most dangerous mission in human history. Weapons ports multiplied across its surface, while the adaptive armor configured for maximum protection. Admiral Seo watched the human ship approach on her tactical display. All ships intercept that vessel. Do not let it reach the Worldbreaker. The remaining Dominion fleet moved to block Thunderbolt's path. Energy beams and missiles filled space as 300 ships fired everything they had at the lone human vessel. But Thunderbolt was no longer the same ship that had won the first battle. Its adaptive systems had learned from every encounter, growing stronger and more sophisticated with each passing moment. Sir, the ship is automatically avoiding incoming fire, one reported in amazement. The AI is predicting enemy attacks and adjusting our course before they even shoot. The reality phase cannon had evolved into something terrifying. Instead of firing single projectiles, it now created cascading waves of quantum-phased energy that tore through multiple targets simultaneously. Entire squadrons of alien ships vanished as the weapon swept across them. 112 enemy ships destroyed, Hana reported. The weapon is getting more efficient with each shot. Engineer Saul, recovered from his injuries, watched from the medical bay as his beloved ship fought for humanity's survival. The vessel had grown beyond anything he had imagined, becoming a hybrid of human innovation and alien technology. It's beautiful, he whispered. The ship is thinking for itself now, creating new weapons and defenses faster than any crew could manage. Thunderbolt carved through the enemy formation like a sword through paper. Its hull rippled with stolen technology as the adaptive systems incorporated new capabilities in real time. Alien weapons that hit the ship were absorbed, analyzed, and improved before being turned back on their creators. 8 minutes until the Worldbreaker fires, one warned. Captain June pushed Thunderbolt harder than ever before. The ship responded by growing even more powerful, its quantum processors working at superhuman speeds to find a path through the enemy defenses. There, Juan pointed to the tactical display, a gap in their formation. Take it, June ordered. Thunderbolt micro jumped through the gap, appearing suddenly near the Worldbreaker's massive hull. The planet killer was so large that its surface stretched beyond the horizon of their view screen. Scanning for the ventilation shaft, Hana reported. Found it. Coordinates locked. The shaft was impossibly small, barely wide enough for a fighter craft, but Thunderbolt's adaptive hull was already reshaping itself, becoming longer and thinner as the ship prepared to enter the enemy vessel. Sir, this is going to be tight, Rin warned. If the ship gets stuck halfway through, we'll be trapped. Then we don't get stuck, June replied. All hands brace for insertion. Thunderbolt compressed itself into a needle-like shape and dove into the Worldbreaker's ventilation system. The ship moved through twisted passages and maintenance shafts, its hull flowing like liquid to navigate the maze. Admiral Seo realized what was happening too late. They're inside the world breaker. All ships fire on our own vessel if necessary. Stop them, but it was already too late. Thunderbolt emerged into the world breaker's reactor chamber, a space the size of a cathedral filled with pulsing energy. There's the core, Hana said, pointing to a massive sphere of contained antimatter. One shot should cause a chain reaction. Do it, June ordered. The reality phase cannon fired directly into the world breaker's heart. The quantum-phased projectile passed through the reactor's shields and struck the antimatter containment system. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire chamber began to glow. Emergency jump now, June shouted. Thunderbolt's modified FTL drive activated just as the world breaker's reactor exploded. The ship escaped into hyperspace as the massive dreadnought tore itself apart from within. The explosion was visible across the entire star system. When Thunderbolt emerged from hyperspace, the world breaker was gone. In its place was an expanding cloud of debris and radiation. The Dominion's ultimate weapon had been destroyed by a single shot from the human vessel. The remaining alien fleet stopped fighting. Their commanders stared at the destruction in shock and disbelief. Their most powerful ship, their ultimate weapon, had been defeated by primitives they had thought inferior. Impossible, Admiral Seo breathed. How could they destroy the world breaker? Emperor Gon's image appeared on communication screens throughout the fleet. For the first time in his 1,000-year reign, the Dominion ruler looked uncertain. Admiral Seo, report your status immediately. My Emperor, the world breaker has been destroyed. Our fleet has suffered 70% casualties. The human ship continues to grow stronger with each engagement. Emperor Gon studied the battle reports in silence. His empire had ruled the galaxy through superior technology and overwhelming force. But now they faced an enemy that turned their own strengths against them. Withdraw all forces to the capital system, he commanded finally. We need time to analyze this threat. But Captain June wasn't finished. Thunderbolt accelerated toward the retreating alien fleet, its hybrid hull bristling with weapons stolen from the enemy themselves. Captain, we've won, Communications Officer Nari reported. The aliens are retreating. Not yet, June replied. We need to make sure they understand the message. Thunderbolt overtook the fleeing alien ships and positioned itself directly in their path. The vessel had grown enormous during the battle, now larger than many of the enemy dreadnoughts. Its surface gleamed with technology from a dozen different species. This is Captain June of the Earthship Thunderbolt, he broadcast to the alien fleet. Your Emperor wanted to demonstrate the price of defying the Dominion. Let me demonstrate the price of threatening humanity. The reality phase cannon fired one final time, sweeping across the retreating fleet. The weapon had evolved beyond anything human science had previously imagined, capable of destroying multiple targets with each shot. Enough, Admiral Seo transmitted desperately. We surrender. We will withdraw from your space and trouble you no more. June studied the defeated alien commander on his screen. Tell your Emperor that humanity offers a different path. We don't want to rule the galaxy like you do. We want cooperation, not conquest. But we will defend ourselves against anyone who threatens our freedom. Admiral Seo nodded slowly. I will deliver your message. The surviving Dominion ships jumped to hyperspace, fleeing toward their distant capital. Behind them, Thunderbolt hung in space like a silver star, its adaptive hull still glowing with absorbed energy. Status report, June requested. All systems optimal, Rin reported. The ship has incorporated technology from every enemy vessel we encountered. We're now more advanced than anything in the Dominion fleet. Captain Mina's voice came over the communication system from the hidden base.
Captain June, you've done something incredible.
You've not only saved Earth, you've changed the balance of power in the galaxy. Admiral Moon added his congratulations from Earth Command. The entire planet owes you a debt that can never be repaid. But June was already thinking about the future. This is just the beginning. The Dominion will spread word of our capabilities throughout the galaxy. Other species will want to learn from us. Dr. Yu had been monitoring alien communications during the battle. Captain, we're already receiving messages from subjugated worlds. They're asking for help, wanting to learn our technology. Thunderbolt emerged from hyperspace like a silver ghost. The ship appeared suddenly near the battle zone, its hull gleaming against the darkness of space. Captain June felt the ship respond to his thoughts as if it were an extension of his own body. "Enemy fleet ahead," reported Navigator Juan from his station. 237 vessels. They're arranged in standard Dominion attack formation. On the view screen, the alien fleet looked like a metal city floating in space. Each ship was massive, bristling with weapons and armor. They moved slowly toward Earth, confident in their overwhelming power. "They don't even see us yet," said Weapons Officer Hana. "We're too small to register as a threat." Captain June smiled coldly. "That's about to change. All stations prepare for combat. Remember, this ship fights differently than anything they've ever seen. Trust the systems and stay sharp." The crew of 50 had trained for months to use Thunderbolt's unique capabilities. Engineer Sol monitored the adaptive armor systems. Communications Officer Nari coordinated with the surviving Earth defense ships. Everyone knew their role in the coming battle. "Sir, the aliens are targeting Commander Juan's remaining ships," Juan reported. "They're preparing to finish off our fleet." June's jaw tightened. Good people were dying while the aliens played with them like cats with mice. It was time to show the Dominion that humans could bite back. Hana, target the lead battleship. Sol, configure armor for maximum stealth. 1, prepare for micro-jump sequence alpha. All systems ready. "Captain," the crew reported. "Then let's introduce ourselves." Fire. Thunderbolt's reality phase cannon fired with a sound like breaking glass. The weapon's projectile raced toward the alien battleship, invisible to their sensors. The shot passed through the massive ship's shields as if they didn't exist. The alien vessel exploded from the inside out. Metal plates flew in all directions as internal systems overloaded. In seconds, a ship that had seemed invincible was nothing but floating debris. The alien fleet stopped moving. For the first time in 1,000 years, a Dominion battleship had been destroyed by a single shot from an unknown enemy. "Impossible," breathed the alien fleet commander. "What weapon could penetrate our shields?" Captain June didn't give them time to figure it out. 1, execute micro-jump sequence. Hana, continuous fire pattern. Sol, adaptive configuration for speed. Thunderbolt vanished from its position and reappeared inside the alien formation. The ship moved like liquid lightning, appearing and disappearing between the massive enemy vessels. Each time it materialized, the reality phase cannon fired, and another alien ship died. The Dominion fleet tried to respond, but their weapons couldn't target something that kept teleporting. Their massive guns tracked empty space while Thunderbolt struck from impossible angles. "How are they doing this?" demanded Admiral Corex. "No ship can jump such short distances." His tactical officers studied the readings. "Sir, their FTL signature is unlike anything in our database. They're not tearing space like normal drives. They're sliding between dimensions. Then track their dimensional displacement and fire where they'll appear next." But Thunderbolt's movements weren't predictable. Navigator 1 calculated each jump based on real-time battle conditions. The ship appeared where it was needed most, struck hard, and vanished before return fire arrived. Engineer Sol watched his displays as the ship's adaptive armor responded to each attack. When plasma beams struck the hull, the armor became plasma-resistant. When kinetic shells hit, it absorbed the impact. The ship was learning from every hit, becoming harder to damage. "Armor efficiency increasing," Sol reported. "The ship is getting stronger as the battle continues." Captain June felt the ship's AI working alongside him. The computer calculated optimal attack patterns while he provided human intuition and creativity. Together they were more effective than either could be alone. "Sir, the aliens are trying to surround us," Juan warned. "Let them try." Hana switched to rapid-fire mode. Sol, configure for maximum maneuverability. Thunderbolt's hull shifted and flowed like living metal. New weapon ports opened along the sides while the ship's profile became more streamlined. The vessel changed shape as the crew watched, adapting to the battle's demands. The reality phase cannon fired continuously now, each shot taking down another alien vessel. The weapon's projectiles phased through shields, armor, and hull plating to explode inside enemy ships. No defense could stop them. 27 enemy ships destroyed, Hana reported. No damage to our hull. The alien fleet was starting to panic. Their formations broke apart as ship commanders tried to avoid the mysterious human vessel that struck like a phantom. Some tried to flee, but Thunderbolt was faster than anything they had. Admiral Corex watched his fleet crumble around him. All ships focus fire on the human vessel. Maximum power. All weapons. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles converged on Thunderbolt's position. But the ship was no longer there. It had micro-jumped to safety, leaving the aliens firing at empty space. Behind you, June whispered. Thunderbolt appeared directly behind Corex's flagship. The reality phase cannon fired 3 times in rapid succession. The massive alien dreadnought shuddered as explosions tore through its interior. Life support failed. The engines went dead. The proud flagship became a drifting hulk. Impossible, Corex gasped as his ship died around him. What are these humans? Captain June opened a communication channel to the entire alien fleet. His face appeared on their screens, calm and determined. This is Captain June of the Earthship Thunderbolt. Your invasion fleet is finished. Withdraw from Earth space immediately or be destroyed. The remaining alien commanders looked at their tactical displays. 43 ships destroyed in less than an hour. Their most advanced weapons useless against the human vessel. Their finest admiral defeated by an enemy they had thought primitive, sir. One reported quietly. Long-range sensors show another alien fleet approaching. Twice the size of this one. June nodded grimly. This battle was won, but the war was far from over. The Dominion wouldn't accept defeat so easily. All ships, Corex broadcast to his remaining fleet. Retreat to Rally Point 7. Report to High Command immediately. The alien vessels turned and fled toward deep space. Their proud formation was broken, their confidence shattered. They had come to conquer primitives and instead found something that fought like nothing in their experience. Engineer Saul checked his systems as the aliens retreated. Sir, the ship's learning algorithms have recorded everything. We're already more effective than when the battle started. Good, June replied. We're going to need every advantage we can get. Communications Officer Nari received a transmission from Commander Juan's surviving ships. Captain, the Earth fleet is requesting permission to come alongside. Granted. They deserve to see what saved them. The remaining human ships approached Thunderbolt carefully. On their screens, the mysterious vessel looked small and unremarkable. But they had watched it single-handedly destroy an invasion fleet. Thunderbolt. This is Commander Juan. I don't know how you did what you just did, but you saved Earth, thank you. Captain June smiled. Thank Captain Mina and her team. They built something special. As the 2 human fleets regrouped, long-range sensors continued tracking the fleeing aliens. The defeated ships were sending urgent messages to Dominion High Command. Soon every leader in the galaxy would know that humanity possessed weapons and tactics beyond their understanding. 1. Set course for the hidden base. We need to rearm and prepare for what's coming next. Aye, sir. Course laid in. Thunderbolt turned away from Earth and accelerated toward the asteroid belt. Behind them, the planet was safe for now. Ahead lay greater challenges as the Dominion prepared its response. The first battle was won, but Captain June knew it was only the beginning. The Empire would not accept defeat from a species they considered primitive. They would come back with everything they had, but humanity had shown the galaxy something new. They had proven that intelligence and adaptability could defeat brute force. The Dominion's age of easy conquest was ending, and Thunderbolt would be ready for whatever came next. The asteroid looked like any other rock floating in space. Dark and cold, it spun slowly between Mars and Jupiter. But inside this ordinary rock was humanity's greatest secret. Engineer Quan guided visitors through the hidden shipyard. The space was enormous, carved out over 5 years by mining robots. Bright lights illuminated the construction area where hundreds of workers had built something impossible. We started this project the day we detected the first alien signals, Quan explained to the group of Earth officials. Captain Mina knew we would need something special to fight them. The visitors stared in wonder at the massive ship taking shape before them. Thunderbolt was beautiful in a deadly way, its hull curved like a sword blade, covered in panels that seemed to move and shift as they watched. How did you hide this from Earth's government? Asked one official. We didn't hide it, said Admiral Day as he joined the group. Earth's leaders knew about the project. They approved every resource we needed. This shipyard employed 10,000 people over 5 years. Captain Mina appeared beside them, her hands dirty from working on the ship's final systems. She had barely slept in weeks, making sure every detail was perfect. Show them the special features, she told Quan. Engineer Quan led them to a viewing platform overlooking the ship's main cannon. The weapon looked normal from the outside, but appearances were deceiving. This is the reality phase cannon, Quan said. Dr. Suki designed it using principles we learned from captured alien technology. Most weapons fire energy or metal projectiles. This weapon fires something different. What does it fire? Asked an official. Dr. Suki stepped forward. She was small, but her voice was confident. It fires quantum-phased matter. The projectiles exist in our dimension when fired, but shift into parallel space when they encounter shields. They reappear inside the target ship, bypassing all defenses. The officials looked confused. Scientist Ben joined the explanation. He was a tall man with wild hair who understood things others could barely imagine. Think of it this way, Ben said simply. Normal weapons hit the outside of a castle wall. Our weapon goes through the wall as if it wasn't there, then explodes inside the castle. The group moved on to see the ship's armor. The hull panels were dark gray and seemed to ripple like water. Adaptive armor, Captain Mina explained proudly. Each panel can change its properties in seconds. If the enemy fires plasma, the armor becomes plasma resistant. If they fire kinetic shells, it becomes shock absorbing. The ship learns and adapts to whatever hits it. Engineer Saul appeared from inside an access panel. He was covered in grease but smiling. The armor can also reconfigure physically. If we need more weapons, new gun ports grow from the hull. If we need more speed, the ship becomes more streamlined. It's like the ship is alive. The visitors were amazed, but they had more questions. How fast is it? One asked. Pilot June answered from nearby. He was young, but had more flight hours than anyone else in the human fleet. Faster than anything the aliens have. The FTL drive doesn't just move us between star systems. It can make tiny jumps during combat. We can appear behind an enemy ship, fire, and disappear before they can respond. Navigator 1 looked up from his calculations. The micro-jump system is the real breakthrough. We can jump distances as small as a few kilometers. No other ship in the galaxy can do that. Dr. Suki led them to the ship's brain. The computer core was unlike anything built before. Instead of simple circuits, it used quantum processors that could think in multiple dimensions. The AI had to be completely redesigned, she explained. Normal ship computers follow programs. This one learns and makes decisions. It can analyze enemy tactics during battle and develop counter-strategies in real time. Is it safe? Asked an official nervously. What if the computer decides to fight us instead of the aliens? Scientist Ben laughed. We thought of that. The AI is bound by quantum locks that make it physically impossible to harm humans, but it can be very creative about harming our enemies. Commander Yuki joined them from the weapons testing area. She was in charge of the ship's security and knew every system inside and out. We've run simulations against every known alien ship design, she reported. Thunderbolt should be able to defeat vessels 10 times its size. The key is not to fight like they expect. Captain Mina brought the group to the ship's engine room. The FTL drive hummed with energy that made the air itself seem to vibrate. This is where the magic happens, she said. We took alien FTL technology and improved it. Instead of tearing holes in space, we slide between dimensions. It's faster, more efficient, and impossible to track. Engineer Kwan pointed to monitoring displays. The power output is incredible. This ship generates more energy than some space stations, but it uses that energy in ways the aliens have never seen. The tour ended at the bridge. Pilot June sat in the captain's chair, running final system checks. The bridge was smaller than a normal warship, but every surface showed important information. Why is the crew so small? Asked an official. Most battleships need thousands of people. Because the ship does most of the work itself, June explained. The AI handles targeting, navigation, and damage control. The armor repairs itself. The weapons aim themselves. We just tell the ship what we want to do, and it figures out how to do it. Weapons Officer Hana looked up from her console. It's like flying a computer that happens to have engines and guns. The ship and crew work together like a team. Admiral Day gathered everyone for a final briefing. Through the windows they could see Earth in the distance, where Commander Juan's fleet was fighting desperately against impossible odds. Thunderbolt represents 5 years of our best work, he said solemnly. It contains technology that could change the galaxy. But first it has to save our world. Captain Mina checked her watch. Pilot June, are you ready for launch? Yes, ma'am. Crew is aboard and all systems are green. Then go save humanity. The shipyard's massive doors opened slowly. Thunderbolt's engines came to life with a sound like distant thunder. The ship moved forward gracefully, its adaptive hull already adjusting for maximum speed. Engineer Kwan watched from the control room as humanity's secret weapon headed toward battle. 5 years of work, down to 1 ship and 50 brave people. Dr. Suki stood beside him. It's enough. It has to be enough. The ship accelerated rapidly, its revolutionary engines pushing it faster than any vessel had ever traveled. In minutes, Thunderbolt was just a bright star moving toward Earth. Captain Mina smiled grimly. Her creation was about to face the ultimate test. Everything humanity had learned about war, technology, and survival was built into that single ship. Now we see if we're as smart as we think we are, she said quietly. The hidden shipyard went dark, as its secret was finally revealed. In a few hours, the galaxy would know that humanity had built something extraordinary. The question was whether it would be enough to survive what was coming. The massive alien ships hung in space like metal mountains. Their dark hulls blocked out the stars as they moved toward Earth. Commander Juan watched the enemy fleet through the bridge windows of his ship. He counted over 50 vessels, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. "Sir, they're sending a message," said his communications officer. The main screen flickered to life. An alien face appeared with gray skin and cold yellow eyes. The creature spoke in perfect English, though its voice sounded like grinding metal. "Primitive humans of Earth, I am Fleet Admiral Corex of the Galactic Dominion. Your world now belongs to our empire. You will surrender all military forces immediately. You will provide tribute of 1 million workers and all valuable resources. You have 1 day to comply." The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. Everyone looked at Commander Juan. He was a tall man with kind eyes and graying hair. He had spent 20 years in space fighting pirates and protecting Earth colonies, but nothing had prepared him for this. "Send our reply," Juan said quietly. The communications officer nodded. The screen came alive again, showing the alien commander's surprised face. "Admiral Corex," Juan began. "This is Commander Juan of the Earth Defense Force. Earth's answer is no. We will not surrender. We will not become your slaves. If you want our world, you'll have to fight for it." The alien's eyes glowed brighter. "Foolish creature. Do you not understand? We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your primitive ships are nothing compared to our power. We will demonstrate." The transmission cut off. Minutes later, bright beams of energy shot from the alien ships. 3 orbital stations exploded in balls of fire. Thousands of people died in seconds. The alien fleet had barely used any power at all. Juan's hand shook with anger. But he forced himself to stay calm. Earth needed him to be smart, not angry. "All ships, pull back to defensive positions," he ordered. "Follow Plan Delta." His fleet of 30 ships moved away from Earth. They were smaller than the alien vessels, but they were fast. Juan knew they couldn't win a direct fight. But they didn't need to win. They just needed to buy time. Far away in the darkness between Mars and Jupiter, something incredible was hidden. Captain Mina stood in the control room of the secret base, watching screens full of data. She was a brilliant woman who had designed ships since she was a teenager. Her black hair was tied back as she worked without rest. "How much longer?" asked Admiral Day as he entered the room. He was an old soldier with scars on his face and wisdom in his eyes. 18 hours, Mina replied. "Maybe 16 if we skip the final tests." "We may not have 18 hours, Day said sadly. "Commander Juan's fleet is brave, but they can't hold back the aliens for long." Mina looked at her creation through the observation window. The ship was unlike anything ever built. It was sleek and silver, about half the size of the alien battleships. But size didn't matter. This ship would change everything. "Thunderbolt is ready," she said. "The weapons work. The armor works. The drive system works. We've tested everything we could." Dr. Suki joined them at the window. She was a small woman with bright eyes and a quick mind. For 5 years, she had worked on the secret project with Mina. Together, they had solved problems that should have been impossible. "The reality phase cannon is stable," Dr. Suki reported. "The adaptive armor responds in 0.3 seconds. The AI brain can handle the calculations. Everything is ready." Admiral Day nodded slowly. "Then we proceed. Captain Mina, prepare your ship for combat. The fate of humanity depends on what happens next." Meanwhile, near Earth, Commander Juan's fleet was fighting a losing battle. His ships darted around the huge alien vessels like insects attacking giants. They fired missiles and energy beams, but their weapons barely scratched the enemy armor. The aliens seemed almost bored. They moved slowly, firing occasionally when a human ship got too close. Each shot destroyed or crippled one of Juan's vessels. The battle was not even close to fair. "Sir, we've lost 8 ships," reported his tactical officer. "The aliens are moving toward Earth again." Juan watched his brave crews die one by one. These men and women had families on Earth. They knew they were flying to their deaths, but they did it anyway to protect their home. "All ships, continue hit-and-run attacks," Juan ordered. make them work for every mile. But he knew the truth. In a few hours, his fleet would be gone. Then the aliens would destroy Earth's cities from space. Millions would die, and the survivors would become slaves. Unless the secret weapon was ready in time. Back at the hidden base, final preparations were complete. Pilot June climbed aboard Thunderbolt with his crew of 50. He was young but experienced, the best pilot in the human fleet. His hands were steady as he touched the controls of the strange new ship. All systems green, reported Engineer Kwan from below. The ship is ready for its first real mission. Captain Mina stood in the docking bay as Thunderbolt prepared to launch. Her 5 years of work were about to be tested in the deadliest way possible. If she had made any mistakes, humanity would pay the price. Remember, she told Pilot June over the radio, this ship thinks differently than normal vessels. Let it help you. Trust the systems we built, understood, June replied. We won't let you down. The massive doors of the hidden base opened. Thunderbolt's engines glowed with strange blue light. The ship moved forward slowly, then faster, then disappeared in a flash of energy. Admiral Day watched the ship leave. God help them, he whispered. And God help us all. Near Earth, the alien fleet was finishing off the last human defenders. Commander Juan's ship was damaged and bleeding air. Most of his fleet was gone. The aliens were moving toward Earth for the final attack. Then something appeared on the sensors. A single ship coming fast from the direction of Jupiter. Sir, unknown vessel approaching, said the scanner operator. Commander Juan looked at the readings. The ship was human-built, but unlike anything in the fleet database. It was moving incredibly fast and had energy readings that made no sense. The ship sent a simple message. This is HSS Thunderbolt. We're here to help. Juan smiled for the first time in days. The secret weapon was real. Humanity's last hope had arrived. Admiral Hayrim stood on the command deck of the fortress ship Mugunghwa, watching death approach on a scale that defied comprehension. Through the massive viewports, she could see the first wave of devourers emerging from hyperspace at the galaxy's edge. Each construct was the size of a moon, twisted amalgamations of consumed matter that pulsed with dark energy. They moved with purpose that spoke of terrible intelligence, spreading out to attack multiple star systems simultaneously. Distance to lead elements, she asked calmly. 50 million kilometers in closing, reported her tactical officer. Estimated time to weapons range, 47 minutes. Hayrim had commanded the outer perimeter defenses for 6 months, overseeing the construction of the most powerful defensive network in galactic history. Gravity mines floated in carefully planned patterns. Reality anchors hummed with power that could lock space itself into rigid patterns. Weapons platforms the size of asteroids waited for targets. Signal all defensive positions, she ordered. Weapons free, fire at will. The battle began with humanity's opening move. Gravity bombs detonated throughout the Devourer formation, creating pockets of collapsed spacetime that should have trapped the entities in accelerated time loops. Instead, the Devourers adapted. Admiral, her sensor operator called out in shock. They're not affected by the gravity bombs. They're absorbing the energy. On the tactical display, the Devourers showed no signs of being slowed by weapons that could crack planets. Worse, they were learning, analyzing human tactics and developing countermeasures in real time. Switch to molecular disintegration beams, Hayrim ordered. The fortress weapons fired, sending streams of energy that could break atomic bonds across millions of kilometers. Several Devourers took direct hits, their twisted forms beginning to dissolve. But even as they died, the surviving entities adapted again. Within minutes, they had developed shields that deflected the disintegration beams harmlessly into space. They're learning faster than we can adapt, reported weapons engineer Xiang Ho from his position deep in the fortress. Every weapon we use, they find a counter within minutes. Hayrim watched the tactical display with growing concern. The Devourers were pushing through the outer defenses, consuming the energy from destroyed platforms to fuel their continued advance. Admiral, her communication officer called out. Priority message from Fleet Command. Fleet Admiral Insu appeared on the main screen, his face grim. Hayrim, fall back to the secondary defense line. We're activating the deep weapons. Sir, what about the outer colonies? Already evacuated. We're abandoning everything beyond the mid-rim. The scope of the retreat hit Hayrim like a physical blow. Humanity was giving up hundreds of systems to buy time for their ultimate weapons to come online. Understood, sir. Mugunghwa is withdrawing now. As her fortress ship began its retreat, Hayrim watched the Devourers consume the abandoned defensive installations. They fed on the exotic matter and energy, growing larger and more powerful with each victory. Behind them, the battle continued on 1,000 fronts. Captain Unbi of the destroyer Sabyok led a desperate attack against a Devourer that had broken through the main line. Her ship was tiny compared to the entity, but she had something the enemy didn't expect. "All hands, prepare for dimensional core detonation," she announced to her crew of 300. "Captain," her first officer protested, "that will destroy us too." "I know," Unbi replied calmly, "but it will take that thing with us." The Sabyok dove directly into the heart of the Devourer construct, its crew singing old Korean songs as they flew towards certain death. At the last moment, Unbi triggered the dimensional core overload. The explosion tore a hole in reality itself, creating a temporary rift that consumed the Devourer and everything around it. The sacrifice of one ship had destroyed an entity that could have consumed entire star systems, but there were hundreds more Devourers, and humanity was running out of ships to sacrifice. In the command center of the Hanbit, Fleet Admiral Insu watched the battle reports with mounting desperation. The conventional phase of the war was failing. Time had come for humanity's ultimate gamble. "Activate the Deep Project," he ordered. Deep in the ship's core, systems that had been 40 years in the making came online. The Deep Project was humanity's final weapon, a device that would fundamentally alter the physical laws of the galaxy to make Devourer existence impossible. But the cost would be enormous. "Admiral," his science officer reported, "Deep Project activation will require us to channel energy through the dimensional matrix of every human in the fleet. The process will change us." "Change how?" "Will exist partially outside normal space-time. We won't be able to live among other species anymore. We'll become something else." Insu looked around the command center at his staff. These people had already sacrificed their homes, their planets, and their normal lives for this war. Now he was asking them to sacrifice their humanity itself. "Send the activation codes," he ordered. Throughout the Deep Fleet, 12 billion humans felt the change begin. Energy flowed through their bodies, connecting them to forces that existed beyond the normal universe. They became living conduits for power that could reshape reality. The effect on the Devourers was immediate and devastating. The entities that had adapted to every human weapon suddenly found themselves unable to exist in spaces where the Deep Project operated. They began to dissolve, their exotic matter breaking apart as the fundamental forces that held them together changed. But the victory came at a terrible price. The humans operating the Deep Project were transforming, becoming beings of energy and thought that could barely interact with physical matter. Admiral Insu felt his own body changing as he channeled power through the fleet's command systems. His consciousness expanded beyond his physical form, touching the minds of every human in the galaxy. "All ships," he broadcast on channels that reached directly into people's minds. "This is our victory, but it's also our goodbye." Ambassador Ji Hai watched from the council station as the battle turned. The Devourers were retreating, their forms breaking apart as human weapons finally found purchase. But the human ships were changing too, becoming translucent, existing in multiple dimensions at once. "Admiral Dongwu," she called over communication channels that were starting to fill with static. His image appeared, but she could see through him now. He was becoming something else, something that existed beyond normal reality. "We've won, Ambassador," he said, his voice echoing strangely. "But we can't stay. The Deep Project has changed us too much. We exist partially outside normal space-time now. What will happen to you? We'll return to the void between galaxies. We'll watch for other threats, other enemies that might threaten life itself. This galaxy is safe, but the universe is vast and full of dangers." Jihei watched as the human fleet began to fade from normal space. The massive ships that had once seemed so solid were becoming ghostly, preparing to slip into dimensions where ordinary matter couldn't follow. "Will we ever see you again?" Dongwu's form was almost completely transparent now. "When the galaxy faces extinction again, we'll return. We are its guardians now, whether it knows we're there or not." The last transmission from the Deep Fleet was Admiral Insu's final message. "To all species of this galaxy, live well. Love deeply. Explore constantly. We'll be watching from the deep." making sure you have the chance to become everything you can be. Then they were gone, taking their impossible technology and transformed humanity with them. The galaxy was left to rebuild, carrying new knowledge and a strange comfort. Somewhere in the vast emptiness between stars, their protectors waited and watched. Years passed, then decades, then centuries. New civilizations rose from the ashes of the Devourer War. Old enemies became allies. The galaxy prospered under the protection of guardians that few remembered and fewer believed in. But sometimes, when new threats emerged from the cosmic dark, massive ships would appear from empty space. They would fight with weapons that bent reality itself, then vanish again into the void. The humans had kept their promise. They had become eternal guardians, protecting a galaxy that would never fully understand the price that had been paid for its survival. In the deep spaces between worlds, 12 billion transformed souls continued their watch, ready to face whatever nightmares the universe might send against the worlds they had sworn to protect.